Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another mixed media tutorial with me, Lisa Taggart. I'm making cards this week and I'm playing with gel press and the chalk acrylic paints. Lots of fun, and if you're interested in all of that, let's take a look first of all at the materials used in more detail. As I mentioned, this week we're using a gel press, so we've got the long one from Lavinia Stamps, the bob long, and also a square one for a little change, along with the brayer. I have this small one. I would use my bigger one, but they're still packed away. We're also using some cardstock, and I've pulled out 6x6, a couple of those, just happen to have that in my stash. Also a couple 8x4 inches cream and white, and some pale gold card for mounting. The stamping card is Multifarious, and that's what we're going to do the prints on. Also we've got some VersaFine Clair in Glamorous, Shady Lane and Nocturne, just to do some stamping. These are the little flower heads that I've been using for the prints. They're just paper flowers. You can buy them in craft stores. Real flowers would do as well. You'll also need a couple of brushes. In terms of the paints, we've got Lime Zest and Tamponade. We've got the beautiful pink in Ruby Punch and Soft Cyan, Honeybee and Vanilla Custard, and finally we've got Calypso and Dewberry. All gorgeous. Also got some gold paint. Any gold paint that you have will do. I've got some Stickles and Waterfall, again any colour would do. Some Collage Medium to do some sticking, and of course the Bibbidi Bobbidi glue to put my cards together. I'm using some soft pastel pencils as well, and very similar colours to the paints just for enhancements, and of course some sparkle pens, again any colour you like. I've got a black pen for the splatters, and moving on then to the stamps. To begin, we have Lily, which is a beautiful one, Wild Summer Flower, Leaf Spray and Wild Poppy. Also Dragon's Thorn, and in terms of sentiments we have Blessings, Heartfelt Verses and Story. But any stamps at all would do. These are the cards that resulted from the gel press play. Lots of bright colours and really very serendipitous and amazing how easy they were to do. So let's make a start. I've got the Bob Long gel press, which is the long rectangle. Also, these are the flowers before they got painted over, and I would recommend you go for something flat, a little like those. You can also use real flowers. You just want to make an impression on the gel press. And as I went through the materials, I've got a couple of greens, an orange and a yellow, and a pink and a blue, and also a purple and a cream. Lots of lovely colours to play with. Also got some copy paper to the side, and a paintbrush, and of course a paper towel for mopping off. So I'm going to take the first layer of cellophane off the plate and leave the bottom one on, and we're just going to pop some colours on and see what happens. So now that we're left with the impression of the flowers on the gel press, I'm just going to take the similar colours again and my paintbrush and very roughly but lightly paint in the edges of the flowers. And you don't have to be too particular about this. And I should say as well, leave the first layer to dry a little bit before you fill in the flowers. You'll see that it changes, the paint cracks a little, and as it dries it does make this sort of crackly texture, and you just fill it in as it happens. And bear in mind that when the print is taken, it'll be the underneath that you will see, not what's on top. So it may look a little bit rough at this stage and you never really know what you're going to get from underneath. Just don't make it too thick, and then once you've completed filling in all the blanks, as it were, nothing too fancy, wait for it to dry and we'll move on to the next stage. Now, the important thing about this stage is not to be too heavy-handed with the pale coloured paint, which is designed really to reignite the paint underneath and to lift it off the gel press. So you don't want to saturate what's underneath. You just want a very, very light layer, and that's really the trick of trying to get what's underneath off. Mine was a little bit too light, so added a tiny bit more, but don't overpaint it. That would be my recommendation. Now, as you can see, it didn't lift at all, and we're left with this wonderful grunginess underneath. So I thought waste not, want not, and I've decided this time I'll use the pale blue to see if I can try to lift it and salvage it and make something from that as well. I decided as well to experiment, since this is just a waste piece, and press in the flowers, but this time not to colour them in, and see what happens, see what the effect of just the white page shining through would be. This next piece is a trial run that was completed off camera when I was having a wee practice to see what would happen. It turned out very nice, and I'm just adding some gold to it as well as the second layer. As you know, this little piece was from the waste, so I decided also then to use the flowers that I had been using for stamping. So these are the original flowers that were pressed onto the gel plate surface, and obviously they got covered in acrylic paint, and they're the same colours, so I thought we may as well recycle them and use them on the card. But in order to lift them a bit, I'm using my gold sparkle pen just to fill in the centres, and those are the leaves that I used as well. So there we go, that's card number 1 more or less complete, and just a few extra little gold sparkly touches. And I've taken a card blank from my stash. I'll stick on the flowers using the matte gel medium, and that's the card blank which I thought complemented the colours of the card. Now you could leave it here, but you know me, I have to get my pastel pencils out and just enhance it a little bit further, particularly the flowers that came from the print. What I'm doing now is darkening up the centres. I really am using a light touch with my pastel pencils. I don't want to cover up what the gel press did, because it was really very random and fabulous, and you know, nothing to do with me. And I think the flowers turned out really abstract and beautiful. So I really am just bringing out some of the colours very gently, and some of the shapes, and maybe define a petal here and there, but nothing too dramatic. Next up, this is the one that was printed on camera. It's had its gold second layer, and now I'm going to do a little bit of stamping for additional interest. So back again to my practice run, and I've added the poppies into this one and the leaf as well, and just to show you how they're going to be mounted up with the pale gold and the cream card. And there we are, they've all been mounted up. The one in the centre just goes to show you don't have to use the whole print, you can cut them up. This one was really interesting because the crackle that happened on the surface of the gel plate is emphasised there in the flowers, so nothing again to do with me, but really a serendipitous outcome. And the same in this one as well, you can see the crackle being printed out, and it looks really well. And it was really a lot of fun, this project, and I had a good old play, which is really necessary. I think sometimes it certainly helps your mood, and there's nothing better than having a couple of hours putting together a few cards. This is the one that's the waist card, and again it's quite unusual with the sort of grunginess of the background, which I love. And the final card, which I haven't showed you yet, was really an experiment as well, where I painted the flowers and pressed them into a piece of waste, and so I've got prints from them. If you enjoyed today, and if you learned something or it inspired you, please subscribe. It really means a lot to me. Like, share and hit the notification bell. Also, my shop links are below for artwork that's for sale. But until next time, take very good care of yourselves, and above all, get creating, be brave and enjoy the adventure.